Today I'm going to be showing you guys how you can shoot a high quality tequila commercial right from the comfort of your home and make it look like this. Alright, so today we've got another fun little shoot set up. We're going to be focusing on the Don Julio Blanco tequila for this particular shoot, and it's sort of a mid to top shelf product in terms of tequilas. So we want to go for a nice, elegant looking commercial, so that's why we're going for a nice bright white setup. And we're going to try and keep that to look fairly seamless with a little bit of reflection here on the bottom. So I'm going to run you guys through the whole setup of how we got to this particular setup. And it's actually pretty similar if you watched my previous video, which was the Johnny Walker whiskey commercial. This is a very similar setup, but a couple things are different. So we'll start with the lights. We've got our top-down key light, which is the SL60W from Godox with a big softbox on there to give us a nice soft key light going down. We once again got the snoot with another SL60W, so that's our label light that's going to give us that really nice pop on those nice colors on the label and emphasize the details of the bottle. So we don't actually have any backlights for this one because I had to use my TV to get a nice pure white background. I had a background that was PVC that was pure white and it got mangled during our move, and I tried pulling it out and flattening it out, and I tried setting it up. Ultimately didn't work because you could still see some of those wrinkles, so I'm gonna have to get myself a new nice white paper background to replace that one, which is what I was planning on doing in the first place, but nonetheless I ended up having to use the TV so we could get a nice pure white. But this is actually adding a lot of backlight to the product too, so this is a nice way to get some cool setups, would be to use your TV. Now all I had to do, since this is a smart TV, I'm able to cast my phone to it, so I just got a pure white background picture off of the internet, downloaded that to my photos, and then I airplayed it to my TV so that I can just have it sit there and be pure white. So that's how we've kind of got this set up. The whole goal of this commercial is to emphasize the product and get those colors, the blues on there to pop. So we're going to be focusing on just trying to show off the details of the product and keep it nice and soft and elegant, so that's why we went with all the white. As far as the equipment goes for what we're going to be using to shoot this commercial, we've got the Sony A7C as the main camera, and we're going to be switching out the lenses between the Sony 35mm f1.8 and the Sigma 70mm f2.8 for some macro shots as well, but those will be the two main lenses that we're using to shoot it. And I have a lot of shots in mind that I'm going to try and get, but I really want to keep it nice and elegant, and I want to have a nice mix of those macros and then the more wide shots with the 35. So first things first, I'm going to start with getting some macro shots because I think that's what I want to lead in the commercial with. So I'm going to go ahead and throw on the 70mm and we're going to get started with those. Alright, so I got the 70mm macro on there. I brought out my Lazy Susan as well, and I'm going to get what I think is going to be the opening shot for the commercial, but I'm also going to get a bunch more other macro shots that I'll show you guys the process for as well. But just to give you an idea of what I'm doing here with the Lazy Susan is I'm going to try and get some really dynamic and elegant movements. So I brought out the slider for that reason. I'm going to have the Lazy Susan spinning one way, and I'm going to try and move the camera against that. So you're going to get these very interesting contrasts and juxtapositions of how the product is moving against the camera, and it should add some really interesting and dynamic movement. I've also got the slider on a bit of an angle so that we're coming in a little bit towards the product as well as we move across. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting a handful of these shots, and I'll show you guys the process and how they're coming out. All right, so now we're on to our next shot, which is going to be, I made a small little cube of ice like you would see at, like a high-end bar where they would, put this in your drink with a whiskey or a tequila. And since this is a higher end tequila, it's typically drank on the rocks, not really like a margarita or a mixable tequila. This is one of those ones that you drink on the rocks. So gonna re-simulate that. So with a little piece of Tupperware, I made my own version of the large cubed piece of ice. So I'm gonna try and get a macro shot dropping it into the glass and rattling around at 120 frames a second for a really cool little slow-mo shot. So let's go ahead and give this a shot, see if I have any aim to get this thing in there on the first try. All right, so we got our macro shots, we got our ice drop-in shot. Now it's time for some of the pour shots. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna use the bottle itself. I've actually got it just filled up with water. Since it's a Blanco tequila, nobody will be able to tell the difference. And I've got a mixing bowl here to make sure that I can pour the water directly into it. So we're gonna get some macro shots of the liquid coming out of the actual bottle. Then we're gonna try and get one where you can just see the liquid pouring. And then I'm gonna bring in the glass and start getting some of those. So I'll go ahead and show you guys the process while I do that, but that's the setup that we're about to go for. So let's see how they come out. All right, so it looks like we got everything we needed in terms of the detail shots, all those macros, all the pouring shots, all that good stuff. Now it's time just to get the final hero shot. So we got a nice little still life set up. All we're gonna do is pop the slider in and scooch it on back. So let's go ahead and get that one. We'll show you the behind the scenes there too. All right, and that's a wrap. Time to take it into post and see what we come out with. All right, so there you guys have it. You can see what the full commercial looks like. Once you add a little bit of music and sound design, those types of things really come together. It might be hard to see when you're shooting these shots how it's all going to come together in post, but once you do a few of them, you realize that these things actually come together quite nicely, and it's all about adding that little bit of flavor and a little bit of sauce there at the end with the sound design, with the music, and some of those effects. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys got something out of it. If you did, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Get it out there so I can keep doing more of these types of videos for you. Check us out on social media. I'll drop all the links right here for your convenience. We post a lot of cool content that's behind the scenes as well in those links, so go ahead and check them out. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.